He moved among presidents, billionaires, celebrities, and royalty. He owned luxurious homes, traveled in private jets, and built relationships with some of the most powerful people on Earth. To the outside world, Jeffrey Epstein appeared to be a mysterious but successful financier, a man who had gained access to a world reserved for the global elite. But behind the image of wealth and influence was a disturbing story that would eventually become one of the biggest scandals of the modern era. A story involving accusations of sexual abuse, powerful connections, failures within the justice system, and unanswered questions that continue to attract worldwide attention. How did a man accused of serious crimes continue living a life of luxury for so many years? How did he maintain relationships with influential people? And how did his story expose uncomfortable questions about wealth, power, and accountability? This is the story of Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire, the allegations, and the case that shocked the world. Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born on January 20th, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York. He grew up in a middle-class family and did not come from a wealthy background. After finishing high school, Epstein attended college but did not complete a degree. Despite this, he managed to enter some of the most exclusive circles in America. His first major professional opportunity came in education. In the 1970s, Epstein worked as a mathematics teacher at the Dalton School, an elite private school in Manhattan. The school was attended by children from wealthy and influential families, and this environment helped him establish connections that would later shape his career. After leaving teaching, Epstein moved into the financial industry. He joined the investment firm Bear Stearns, where he worked in trading and finance. His career progressed quickly, and he became known as someone who worked with wealthy clients. Eventually, he created his own financial company, presenting himself as a money manager for extremely wealthy individuals. However, throughout his life, questions remained about the exact source and scale of his wealth. Unlike many billionaires whose businesses were publicly known, Epstein's financial empire was unusually private. Over time, Epstein built a lifestyle associated with extreme wealth. He owned expensive properties, including a large Manhattan townhouse, a home in Florida, and a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He traveled frequently using private aircraft. His social circle included politicians, academics, business leaders, entertainers, and members of high society. However, having interacted with someone does not automatically mean a person was involved in their crimes. Many individuals who had contact with Epstein later denied knowing about his illegal activities. Still, his connections became a major focus of public discussion after his crimes came to light. The first major legal problems surrounding Epstein began in the early 2000s. In Palm Beach, Florida, authorities began investigating allegations involving underage girls. The investigation revealed multiple accusations against him. Police believed they had evidence to pursue criminal charges, but the legal process that followed became one of the most controversial parts of the entire case. In 2008, Epstein reached a deal with prosecutors that allowed him to avoid federal charges. Instead, he pleaded guilty in Florida state court to charges involving prostitution and a minor. He was sentenced to 18 months in jail and required to register as a sex offender. However, the agreement attracted widespread criticism because of the unusually favorable conditions he received. During his sentence, Epstein was allowed to leave jail for work purposes for several hours on many weekdays. Many critics argued that his treatment showed how wealth and influence could affect the justice system. Years later, a federal judge ruled that prosecutors had violated the rights of victims by failing to properly inform them about the agreement before it was finalized. The decision increased public criticism of how the case had been handled. Many people questioned why Epstein had avoided more serious consequences despite multiple accusations. Despite the controversy, Epstein continued to live a relatively private life after his conviction. He remained wealthy. He continued interacting with influential people, and for years the full extent of the allegations against him remained outside the attention of many members of the public. But that changed in 2018 and 2019. Renewed investigations and media reports brought Epstein's history back into the spotlight. Journalists examined the earlier investigation, the plea agreement, and the network of people connected to him. Public pressure grew. Authorities began taking another look at the case. In July 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in New York on federal charges related to sex trafficking of minors. The arrest immediately became international news. This was no longer a case limited to one city or one investigation. The entire world was watching. Prosecutors alleged that Epstein had operated a system of abuse involving numerous victims over many years. Epstein denied the allegations and pleaded not guilty. Following his arrest, investigators searched some of his properties, including his Manhattan residence. The case attracted enormous attention because of Epstein's connections to powerful individuals. The public wanted to know how someone with such a controversial history had maintained relationships with influential people for so long. While the case focused heavily on Epstein, the voices of the victims became an important part of the story. Many survivors spoke publicly about their experiences and demanded accountability. Their stories highlighted how difficult it can be for victims of powerful individuals to seek justice. They also raised questions about whether institutions had failed to act sooner. In August 2019, while awaiting trial in a federal detention facility in New York, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. His death was officially ruled a suicide by authorities. However, because of the circumstances surrounding his death, it immediately created widespread public speculation and numerous conspiracy theories. Questions were raised about security failures at the detention facility and how such a high-profile prisoner was able to die while in custody. Investigations later identified serious failures by prison staff, including problems with monitoring procedures. Epstein's death meant that he never faced a full criminal trial for the federal charges brought against him in 2019. As a result, many questions about his alleged network and activities remained unresolved in court. However, investigations continued into people and organizations connected to him. The Jeffrey Epstein case became much bigger than one individual. It became a global discussion about power, privilege, and accountability. It raised questions about whether wealthy and influential people receive different treatment from ordinary citizens. It also highlighted the importance of listening to victims and ensuring that allegations are properly investigated, regardless of a person's status. The case also changed public conversations about elite networks. Epstein's ability to move among powerful circles showed how relationships and reputation can sometimes create a false image of respectability. His story became a reminder that public success does not always reveal what happens behind closed doors. Years after his death, Jeffrey Epstein remains one of the most controversial figures of the 21st century. His name continues to appear in discussions about criminal justice, wealth, influence, and institutional accountability. The full impact of the case continues to be debated. But one lesson remains clear: power and connections cannot replace accountability, and the pursuit of justice depends on institutions being willing to investigate wrongdoing, regardless of who is involved. Jeffrey Epstein's story was not only about one man. It was about the systems, relationships, and failures that allowed him to operate for years. It was a case that forced the world to look beyond wealth and status and ask a difficult question. When powerful people are accused of serious crimes, will justice truly be equal for everyone? The answer to that question continues to shape conversations around the world.